Hey everyone, Charlie here. Long time no see. I hope you're all doing well. What if I told you that none of this snow was here yesterday? Check it out right now. It's beautiful, particularly over there by the expressway. And the mart over there. Just left getting my cup. Yeah, it's beautiful. It's really, really nice, but I was a little bit shocked because, as I say, yesterday all of this had melted to the point where when I was on my run, it was just like a normal run. It was a little cold, but there was not even like a spot of snow in most places. So yeah, just surprising. Now there's got to be, in the places where it's worse, like 6 inches or so, which is fine by me. But anyway, Fukuya, I guess. So, I don't know if you know this, but I have been away for a little while. Just about 2 months, I think. And hang on, I need to fix the angle of our action cam here. It's a little too low. There we go. Better. Better. And it's gone for a while. And nothing new really, I suppose. Just the things that I talked about in the videos leading up to that time. Ohayou gozaimasu. The videos leading up to that time. Where, you know, I was talking about, oh, I need to find my creative path and all these other things that people say when they don't want to put in the work and force themselves on the creative path. Although that's not always the case, I guess. But so, you know, same old. But adding to that, I don't know if you noticed, but and this is entirely dependent on how long you've been with the channel, but a lot of the people who I became friends with because they were either starting to make videos at the same time as I was, or we had a lot in common in the things we were interested in, or our personalities match, whatever. They've either stopped making videos or they don't make them very often anymore. Or maybe the worst thing yet is that some of the people I came up with who are still making videos, it seems like the wind is completely gone out of their sails, and the type of videos they make, if I can speak honestly, don't inspire me. So, and you know, that's not the same for everybody. Like, of course, Wikipedia, for example, she keeps doing her thing, you know, making music reviews and talking about musica and stuff like that, and she's been holding the channel together over on the Burrow and stuff like that. And Mel of Epon Culture Quest is still doing her thing. So it's not to say it's across the board, but it's interesting because generally speaking, in most things I consider myself to be kind of a loner. Check this out. So that is beautiful out here, isn't it? I want to go up there. I want to walk on that pathway, but probably I will die with these shoes on. Yeah, it's gorgeous. Yeah, so I consider myself not necessarily a loner, but, well, I guess someone who likes to do a lot of things alone is by definition a loner, right? And so never considered much how much, like, having people like Peoples DeGuyzen and Jake Knowlton and Hickey and Epon Culture Quest and stuff like that making videos, or just being in contact or being part of the video making process in even some sort of ancillary way, was sort of propping me up to make my own videos. And so particularly when Jake decided he wasn't going to be making videos anymore, or that he was taking a break which I think is a more accurate thing to say. Yeah, it sort of just added to what I was already feeling, is that this sense of disenchantment, which I've talked about before, and I don't want to beat a dead horse, or any horse. Horses are intelligent, beautiful creatures. Don't beat horses. And anyway, the reason why all this preamble is because I went home for it's about 10 days. I think it was 10 days over Christmas break. Now you can see here, this is something I really don't like all that much about Sabai in winter, is that with the exception of the main roads and then like the private businesses like Family Mart and other conveniences that have it done privately, they don't plow. And particularly in Sabai, when things melt a lot, melt rather quickly because the weather fluctuates so much, the temperature does. It's like today this is really nice, it's beautiful, and it's fine to walk through. You can make a lovely snowman, but the next day you're just gonna be walking through 6 inches of slush, so always something to look forward to, I suppose. But as I said, I went home for Christmas, and you know, of course, is all the normal stuff. I got to hang out with my dad, have a drink with my dad, and talk with my mom, and joining her and making fun of my dad and my brothers and stuff like that. You know, all the things that, you know, families do and I miss doing. And talking about them now. Is this thing on? Yes. Talking about them now, I you know, I of course miss them. But there were some other kind of serious things. And I've talked about before in a separate video how while I've been here, my grandfather's health has declined and he's now living in a nursing home. My grandmother on the opposite side of my family, she's been in and out of nursing homes, but it was recently decided that she had to be in one. And so we sold her house, and that was one of the things I did while I was home, was help move her out of her house. And you know, see all the things that she wanted me to have because she thought they were important to me, that I liked as a kid, and things like that that I just couldn't take with me. And so you know, a lot of things like that. And what those sort of situations force you to realize, I think, is how much maybe you're treading water, you know? How much you're treading water, and how much maybe your path might end up in the same way as theirs did, which is not necessarily a bad thing, but sometimes they're, you know, they're places people end up, or the attitudes they have when they get older, whether that means elderly or just a little bit older, and they become bitter and immobile, both emotionally and physically, mentally and physically, I should say. And you know, that weighs on me a lot. And so I think, if anything, that sort of, when I got back, and since I've been back, luckily, I haven't felt that oh, poor me, like I have writer's block, poor me, I don't want to make a video, you know, things like that. Because, I don't know, I guess I was shown what happens when you sort of sit under the weight of your own ambition, the weight of your own desires for yourself, without actually doing anything to make those things come true. So far anyway, it's been really, really productive. It's amazing how different things look in the snow, isn't it? That's a park I've taken you guys to many times, and we'll go over there because we have a little while yet before the library opens. But since I've been back, I've been running 25 to 30 miles a week again. I've been averaging about 20 hours a week of Japanese study, and I've been writing regularly. I've been writing, and perhaps even more importantly is I've been getting out and I've been exploring Fukui and Sabai a lot more, though I haven't necessarily made videos about it, but they've been informing a lot of the writing I've been doing. And so all this is to say that I don't know if it's permanent or not, but at least for now, I think I'm back on the right track, and I feel good, you know, I feel really good. Not to say I don't have my down days, but I am a human, so, you know. But I think I think a lot of times people say that you need to do things for yourself, right? Like, I've said it to people too, like when it comes to YouTube, like, you know, why are you making videos if you only care about the views, if you only blah, 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 whatever, you know, if you only care about how many people see them. And I've always said, well, if you're enjoying making the videos, then that should be it, right? But beyond that, I think, is there should be a message there that you need to do what is good for you, whether or not you actually want to do that, right? And that's the thing I realized talking to my grandpa. You know, I went in there and I brought him some magazines about Civil War history. Yeah, so here's this park. And I love the way those boughs are bent over with the weight of the snow. It's just gorgeous. It's gorgeous. I know it looks kind of barren, but I love this kind of snowscape. But yeah, it's just, as I said, I was talking to my grandfather and we were just talking about history and shooting the shit, and he's asking me about what's it like dating Japanese girls, or that's his voice, by the way, or what's it like using those chopsticks, you know, things grandparents ask you when you move to a foreign country or whatever. and it was good, but I could also see talking to him, and because I really start asking about the past, because I realize now more than ever that there's a time clock. There's a time clock on your ability to have those kind of conversations and understand what their life was like, and particularly when you're young, you don't see that countdown, but you also you can't, not that you don't care, but you just don't think to care about what it was like to grow up during World War II, or how things changed following the end of the war and the Depression and things like that, and you just don't think to ask it. And so it gives you perspective, but also, going back to my earlier point, it's all well and good to do things for yourself, and you should write for yourself, you should make videos for yourself, make music, you know, form relationships, be friends with the people you want to be friends with, romance, blah blah blah, go on forever, you know, all these different examples. But there's also something to be said about wanting the people who matter to see your work and be proud of your work while they can, you know. And so now that's a lot of my thing, is like, I would just love for my grandpa to see that I published a book. And same thing for my grandma. I would love for my grandma to see that I published a book that was partially inspired by her, or, you know. And so it's good to have those things. Of course, it's good to do things for yourself because you want them, because you have that goal. But yeah. So that's a lot of my thinking. That's a lot of my thinking happening now. So before I go on with the next part of this return home story, this is just a trellis, normally overgrown with purple and white flowers during the summer. It's beautiful. And again, these are places I've shown you guys before. Oh, I love it out here, which maybe makes me crazy, but this is the kind of day that back home I would sit in the mountains and it would just be the snowy. I would have on proper hiking gear, by the way, instead of just, hey, I'm going to the library to study for a while kind of gear. But just, you take out like a coffee, right, a thermos, you take out some jerky or whatever you got in your pack to replenish yourself, and you sit there and let the snow fall on you for a while, and it's beautiful, you know. And there's a quiet when it snows that you just don't get. Even on like a quiet spring day, there's always something happening, right? There's always a bird chirping, but now it's just, you hear tires crunching the snow, and that's about it. And there's a smell too. I don't know if you guys know what I'm talking about, but cold, I suppose, particularly if you're from a part of the world that's always warm, cold like makes your clothing smell like cold, makes you smell like cold. And I love that smell, particularly when somebody comes in from the snow, they've just been out walking or whatever, and you give them a whiff, I'm just like, oh, that smells like home, you know. So, and this is really beautiful, walking through this kind of tunnel of maples, and I'm not even sure what kind of tree this is. I can't tell from the leaves because I'm no master. But especially the splash of red here. Ah, love it. But whilst we stand under this tree for a minute and observe and appreciate. Man, I sound like a yoga video, don't I? Like, observe and appreciate your surroundings while you inhale 3 times. But related to what I was talking about with my family, and related to motivations for doing anything, one of the other things that I noticed is I was lucky enough to see some of my best friends in the world while I was home, in addition to, not just talking about my little brother or my family, but I mean like non-blood related friends who you know, we think of each other as family anyway, of course. What am I talking about? Of course you know that. But man, it's really starting to come down now. But it's both encouraging and disheartening when you go home, I think. Oh my god, look at it, you can see it so much better over here. When you go home and you find that people are still as amazing as they were, and oh my gosh, look at it over there now. It's more and more. This is a New York snow day. Oh, beautiful. And you know, you look at them, and as I say, there's still these intelligent people. They're the people that you made friendships with, that you came to love as if they were family members, as I said. But sometimes you meet these people and they're still spinning the same line that they've been weaving since you've known them, you know, about wanting to do this and wanting to do that, and it's sad to see that, you know, because I'm not one of those people who believe that if you never leave your hometown you're a failure. That's ridiculous, you know. But I think to stay in one place without changing, it's such a sad thing. And I know, because I did it for years before I came over here, you know, and I would tell people the same thing. I'm going to Japan, I'm gonna write a book, I'm gonna do X, Y, and Z. And it just never came true for the longest time. And now I'm here, and that's fine, and that's movement, that's forward movement, but it also makes me think, talking to these people, and being here, and wondering if I'm not just doing the same thing now in a different country. But that's why these are the kind of things that have been going through my head, and that's why I think I've been able to hit my mileage every week. I've been able to study so much and really see my Japanese really improve, and all these other things that I already mentioned, is because I think I get that in some ways I'm guilty of all the things that I was so fearful of becoming when I was meeting my friends, when I was you know, visiting my grandma, moving her out of her house, talking to my grandfather, you know. So anyway, I guess this hasn't really been an episode about life in Japan, although I guess it could be if you move here and you find yourself in similar circumstances. But yeah, that's where I've been, that's where life has been at, and you know, I'm hoping to be better about it. It helps because over on the borough, you know, I have a partner, and basically what got me to make this video and a video that I put up over on that channel yesterday is that I told her that I would have a video up by X day, like a promise, you know. I was still late by a day, but I put it up, and then seeing all the comments from you guys asking when I'm coming back, or pleased to come back, and I can't tell you how that made me feel, how good that made me feel, that people wanted to see more from me. So here it is, you know. It's good. It's good to have these support structures. So anyway, I'm sorry, I'm going to take you guys back the same way we came. Normally I like to do a very big loop so I can show you a bunch of different things, but today, because the weather is just getting a little bit more intense, and I don't want to freeze before getting to the library for today's study session, I am going to go back this way here. But things ahead, things I'm thinking about, kind of related to what we've talked about. I've talked about before how, you know, Tokyo and all that in the summer, and about future, and this is something I meant to mention earlier, but I guess I had always really planned on staying in Japan long term. That's something I've been saying since I started the channel and since before then. But there was always like this specter, for a while anyway, that, you know, there was always a chance that after the year was up on my visa, on my Gaijin card, that I was gonna have to go home. Good Lord, it's coming down. And let's go around this. No, let's go in the way that already has my footprints. No hiking boots. Yeah, there was always this idea that, okay, well, right now I'm only allowed here for a year, so it could be the case that after this year, they, you know, for whatever reason, something happens, and they don't renew my visa, and then I have to go home. And so it's weird trying to make future plans for yourself in a place when there's always the possibility you're gonna get kicked out suddenly, right? And I'm happy to say, and this is something I talked about on Twitter, but now my most recent extension, they gave me 3 years to stay in country, which is great. And of course things could happen. I could become an unemployed bum, and then they would basically make me an illegal alien here. But I don't know if I can explain what it's like to feel like you can be sort of just kicked out at any moment, which is a little over dramatic, but it feels like there's less pressure to focus on just the one thing, which is teaching. And holy cow, this is really getting me. Which, don't get me wrong, you of course should focus on if you're teaching, but also it feels like the possibilities have opened up a bit more because I have more time. I have, you know, if that makes any sense at all. So anyway, that's what's going on. I'm sorry, this is not the most interesting video visually, although maybe if you're not used to snow, it might be. But I just wanted to let you guys know where we stand. I will have another video coming out this coming week, and I'm gonna try and get a live stream up by the beginning of February. I'm thinking the second episode of Bakujanai no very soon. So anyway guys, thank you for your support and your patience. As I said, it really meant a lot to me to see that how many of you guys were reaching out to ask me if I was okay, wanted to know if I was done, if I was coming back. Yes, I'm here. I'm not planning on leaving. It's just I was in a 6-month rut that I kept thinking I was out of. But now, having given it time after feeling like I was out of it, I feel like I actually am. So on that note, guys, thank you so much as always for watching, and I'll see you all very soon indeed. Cheers.